I'm taking care of business, woman, can't you see? It takes a lot of money to make it, to live so truthfully. So keep that love light burning and a little food hot in my plate. Cause don't be surprised if I'm coming home a little late. Cause I've got work to do. I've got work, baby. I got a job. I got work. I got a job. I got work, babe. I got a job. I got work. Work, work. Where the fins at? Where the fins at? Where the fins at? Where the fins at? All right, let's get it. Sun don't shine my way. I'ma bump on another day. I gotta keep on bumping. Said the sun don't shine my way. I'ma bump on another day. I gotta keep on bumping. No, y'all don't know that one. I was about third and fourth grade when that was out. Blue Argonite, baby, giving you the energy of the Blue Argonite. All right, motherfucker, you heavy. God damn. Killing the shoulder. I am Big Pontiac, and this is my co-host, Nobody's Fool. And this is the Chocolate Mountain Show. Welcome each and every one of the Chocolate Mountaineers that steps upon, that has the courage to step into the mountain. I am also the holder of the infinite sacred ball game invented by the Hero Twins. And I am also your one and only galactic daddy-o, sitting in the universe deep near the central sun, welcoming all the Chocolate Mountaineers that dare and have the courage to step out and chill with me on my galactic patio. From Minnesota to the universe. And tonight's code one is Bitter Schwapps Munich Style Ale from the local brewery of Excelsior in Excelsior, Minnesota. And this fine brew is 6.5 of alcohol. And it's, brown ale is my thing, baby. And look at that. Look at those caramels. You see that caramel color? And as you see that caramel color, you can just taste it. You can hear it pour, and you just, the coldness and the goodness, and you just wish you were me right now, don't you? You wish you were me holding this just, you just wish you were me drinking the Excelsior Bitter Schweppes Munich style ale. So pop them if you got them. And we are still smoking on the Luca, the unicorn hookah. And you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you just hold the chamber. Jamie Foxx said, you better blow that shit out. Smoke them if you want them. This has been a gravy day today. I dare to say. We had tornadoes touch down around here. They showed this dude say his tree house got hit by lightning, and the tree fell down and cracked up into his crib. They showed one area. Matter of fact, Excelsior, I was just talking about, they showed that area where some people was they're about to get sod put in tomorrow. So, when you put sod in, you dig up, you take off all the grass, and it's just loose dirt. And the loose dirt got into the street, caused a little flooding on that block. So, I'm a librarian and work up in the library warehouse library, whatever you want to call it. Shit, we all, you heard we got readers, and all the readers went off a storm. And, of course, all our phones go off the same thing because, you watched Responsible Daddy Hour earlier, you saw that we was expecting storms all day. That's why I picked up my daughter instead of us walking. We was expecting storms all day. And so the storms came in. So they put us all on the west side. I work 5 to 9. And they put us all on the west side of the building to like 7:15. So I started watching, what is it called? Moon Knight, whatever the fuck the dude from the Star Wars, that shit he's in. I started watching that shit. And it's interesting. One of the sisters had on a pair of Vans. I was like, oh, I like your Vans. And she was like, I like that you wear bucket hats every day. She said that bucket hats just have a vibe. And because we work independently. And let me say this. Let me get into this part or two. So what's interesting is there's really no rush the way we work. There's a couple, I ain't the only handicapped person working there. There's a couple mentally challenged people. Now, again, we got books that go on carts. This one mentally challenged woman, she tried to walk with this many books. She was successful and put them on her carts, but that's ridiculous. That's just ridiculous. But I noticed something. Now, my dad worked for General Motors. He was the name is slipping me. But what he basically did, he was the type of engineer, and it'll come to me in a minute, where he did a little bit of quality almost as far as the time study. I forget, but he was the type of engineer that would do a time study on how efficient everything is working. Say a general press all the way to the line, to get the part out. How is all efficient? So I kind of got a little bit of that. That kind of got my interest in quality, being a quality control manager. Time study though. So I looked at a thing. Now it's a pretty big warehouse. All the librarians is weaving in and out. We work pretty much away from each other most of the time. But I caught this thing. Now it is no time limit on what we do. I basically handled 300 books yesterday. I probably barely did 150 today. I may have did 170 books today. You see the difference? But I noticed they was doing a time study on us because at one point they all had us in the same area, which is, this is a vast place. There was no reason for, but we get it fed into us. But I looked at it and I'm like, these motherfuckers is doing a time study. I just sat back and I'm like, just looking at it. I'm like, what is the odds that we all put in and all our picking comes from generally the same area for a half hour? It just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. So I looked at Even though there's no pressure on how much they do, they was doing a time study. And I want to get into this other part too. I want to tell you about this other cat I know. I got to tell this story before I forget it. When I worked for Johnson Control, we was called American Fibberd. So those of you who don't know what Fibberd is a type of heavy, not quite plywood, but heavy paper. It's a type of wood. And what Fibberd is, and this is how Mercedes was made until 2000s was still with Fibberd doors, cardboard. It's a type of not hard as plywood because you can still mold this stuff. But this is what the Nazis used making their planes is Fibberd. Was once a German company. So we had these big presses that make these doors. We made the doors for the Malibus and we made the doors for the Toyota Corollas of the time. A couple other doors too. We made the Mercedes-Benz truck doors. But anyway, so I go there working. And it was like kind of gravy, just my mother-in-law had worked there, and I had her brother worked out there, and then one of the in-laws worked out there. My ex-wife had worked out there, but she threw a door at the dude, and so they didn't let her come back after that. But anyway, I want to tell this story about this cat. I guess I'm gonna get a little bit on me. I have such a unique ability to look at things, and I can notice the minute differences. Like I was in one company where the dudes was putting the fake velvet in cars, and he showed me about 6, 7 doors, and he wrote all this shit down, what was wrong with each door. And to a door, I was able to show exactly what was wrong with this dude that marked down. I showed him exactly what was wrong, and I showed him a couple other things. So I have a great keen eye, or I did. So we report on the doors, we do quality, we go in, we as the production's going, if it's something fucked up, we stop the line, we get wherever the mistake is, we take the mistake out, we get it right. And I had got so good at this in a short amount of time because it started like this. At the end of the day, we all had to tell our issues. I had got so good where the quality control manager whose place I ended up taking, he started listening to me because I was always, after a while, they let me go last. They was like, okay. And then even my manager, she would like, okay, what do you have? And I got so good at it, I even noticed the engineers started coming into the room and they were listening to what I had to say was wrong with stuff and what improvements we made. Anyway, the quality control manager ends up taking me kind of under his wing. He was a few years older than me. Cool brother. Brother had kidney disease. He needed his kidney transplanted. But my point is, this dude ran this company single-handedly almost. Engineers, people, his bosses, he ran the company. He was the nucleus of the company. Every 5 minutes, but he taught me the whole job, which I really appreciated. He saw the seriousness, he saw my abilities, and he started teaching me the engineering side, and he showed me how he's like, look, don't take the hit for these people. He said, if these people make a mistake and you point the mistake out, if they agree, you make them sign to where they agree. So if it go wrong, you can point it at them. You can point it at them, that they agreed with it. And in fact, I made a mistake of okaying some parts that I had rejected, but it was like all the managers was gone or took the day off. So it was like my call. And the company corrected what was wrong. But this guy, his name was Randy. I mean, it was amazing watching him run this place. And I'm going to tell Randy's whole story. So one day they fired this other engineer, like out of nowhere. I don't know what. Well, they brought a new manager in. They fired this other engineer. Him and Randy kind of ran the place. After a while, they fired Randy. Randy is the nucleus of this place. Randy ran all the quality stuff, and it all fell on me. And they made me the quality manager. Randy had taught me enough where I knew how to, plus I had just learned the job too. But I want to get into Randy a little bit. So Randy, my man, he ended up buying a business. Now, I'm not going to tell the rest of that part, but he ended up buying a business. He bought a little store. Little store was not far from where I live. So I'd go see him all the time. You know, we kept in contact for years. And don't you know, let me show you how ignorant people are. Again, this is, I can't say it's the hood, but it's on a busy street. And you know, Battle Creek, Michigan, it ain't very busy, but a busy street. And Randy was closed, and this boy kept trying to kick the door in to get into the store. Randy is behind his, you know, but like, so the dude is kicking in the screen door to try to break in. Randy's telling this motherfucker, look, I got a gun. Don't come up in here. The dude kicks in the screen door. Then he proceeds to kick in the main door. No. Let me get this right. This dude had to kick in about this much of the main door and then squeeze through it to get in. So he kicks in the outer door. He has to kick in, you know, enough for a body to get through to get into the main store. Now, the most he can steal is some Twinkies and Ho-Hos and some Mountain Dew and shit like that. I mean, if I guess he saw Randy was in there, he thought he was going to get some money. So while this dude was stuck in the door, Randy fired his ass up. Randy put a couple nines in the dude. And don't you know, the mama had the nerve to be on TV to say, first they interviewed Randy, and Randy told him, look, dude kicked in my outer door. Then he was trying to come through my main door. I told him to stop. He still was trying to get through, so I popped him. Case closed, pretty much. They interviewed the dude's mama, and she's like, well, even though he was breaking in, you didn't have to shoot him. The man gave him commands to stop, and he still didn't stop. So Randy popped his ass. Now, Randy's not with us anymore. I think he did die from kidneys, but he was a cool dude. He was a cool dude that, you know, I appreciated that I came across. So I had to tell that story. He showed me how to be a manager. Showed me how to run a motherfucking company and what to look for. All right, what's happening? What is Chocolate Mountaineer? I saw Lorenzo was in here. We met again. What's happening? There you go. Thank you, brother Lorenzo. Yes, again. JR, why you change your name to Big Pontiac from Ain't Win? Because the energy changes, you know, the energy changes. And when the energy changes, you have to change. And so the energy changes. For months, you know, I had to give love to the time walkers. So I was the time lord. But then, you know, I had to give the love to eight Wind Jaguar Claw and 8 Deer. 8 Wind Flint Eagle and 8 Deer Jaguar Claw. I had to give the love to them, you know. So push that energy out there. Well, now I got to give the love to the tribal member because Pontiac was part of the tribe. So, you know, Pontiac ain't a car. We got to change that. We got to change it. And I'm here to help to show that Pontiac was a person, that he was a chief, scion. You know, he carried the war belt around to say, fight these motherfuckers. If we don't fight them now, we don't stick together, we ain't going to be. So I got to get that out there. Hey, PJ, what's happening, man? What is happening? I saw PJ earlier on Lobos. Lobo was live. Cheek and Chong in the building. Yeah, well, I had to wear this to work. And, you know, you got the eyes, as, you know, in these mugs. You know, the scene where they drive and slow down the highway and shit. Tommy Chong's joke is, I can get it up, but I just can't get it in. Hey, Ethan, how you doing? There we go. Funky Chocolate Mountaineer. There you go. Black Trunks, what's happening? Thank you for joining. Smoking Big. There you go. Through a door. Oh, yeah. I'll tell the story of my ex-wife. Oh, here we go. Yeah, my ex-wife, I told this story before. So it was a hustle. You know, working where we work was a hustle. It was a hustle because what they did is there was a dude in there that was, you know, immigrant that was bringing them in. And the whole story is like this. And I've told this. See, what happened in Michigan was the production jobs, the good paying jobs went away. And so these companies, what they did is they brought these suppliers back in without the unions. And the people that you had sharecropping in Michigan, because a lot of the immigrants would come out of Chicago and sharecrop in Michigan, you know, the full spring, summer, fall season, and then go back towards Chicago, go back down south where they started as these factory jobs paid less, a lot of Europeans, a lot of brothers was like, this ain't enough. You know, we was making $15, $20 an hour. Now you want us to make $5. Well, for a lot of the sharecropping people, they went right into these jobs and took these jobs. So there was a whole business of bringing these people in, you know, and I'm not trying to discriminate or be, you know, but there was, and I'll even drift off a little bit. There was even a business bringing them in. 20 to 25 would stay per house. There was a guy who bought up all this area where they completely, where Sojourner Truth is buried on the, what would be going east, I guess, where this cat had bought up all these houses and then rented them as people came in. And I've told the story before. Not only would he rent them the houses, he would rent them the VCRs, the TVs, the furniture. It was a whole thing. Well, he had a guy in the plant, and the guy in the plant would try to get brothers out and try to get the Europeans out to bring in more Hispanics in. And so where I got to park, where all the management got to park, technically you couldn't get picked, like you couldn't get picked up there. You can't really drive in there and wait. It was just for management. She didn't know that. This was like her first, she got a ride by her grandmother. Grandmother didn't know. So the next day she goes to work and the dude kind of harassed her. He's like, you can't be parking in there. And he wouldn't leave her alone. He kept harassing her. And she just went to the cart where the maid doors was. And she just threw a maid door, hit him with a maid door. So of course she wasn't there. You know, she wasn't there long. Hey, B. Brown. Pontiac was chief of the Ottawa tribe, Indiana tribe, rugged, charismatic, strong, but gentle and warrior as hell. Yeah, I mean, you know, the way and a diplomat, exactly. He took the war belt around to people. And he told them what was happening. And it's the same thing we see today, the division of the people. You know, if one can eat, they seem to think that if I'm eating good, it's going to be I'm eating good. They ain't going to turn on me. I'm going to help them and support them, and they'll never turn. And that ain't what happened. It was like, Pontiac and Tecumseh was the two. It was only two of them that said, giving up an inch, they're going to take it all. These were the only two that said, if we don't stand now, and even in defeating Custer, they could have taken that force of 10 to 20,000 people and support and fought them all the way to St. Louis. They really could have. They could have taken out Reno's army. Reno had Gatling guns. They would have defeated Reno even if Reno put out Gatling guns. They all had repeaters too. That was the stand. And make the Mississippi River don't come across here. Now, what Tecumseh said is don't come across the Ohio River. So yeah, but he was let me get the right name. He actually came out of a tribe. One of my family's tribes in North Carolina was kidnapped as a child, probably fighting and stuff. But he's from one of the tribes in North Carolina. But yeah, Ottawa's is out of Grand Rapids area. Like, and when he would retreat, that's why I say Tecumseh and Pontiac both walked in lands where I walked, lands where I grew up. So see that picture of Draymond AP from MSU days? Makes you wonder. Well, you know how they do it. It's all planned in the head. It ain't, it's planned in the head. It's not just happenstance. It's planned in the head. They try to take every angle when they're around. I mean, when they're in front of those cameras, they try to, every little thing. And something that seems like it's nothing, they can turn it into say, look at this. You see Warriors down by 50 scripted. Oh, absolutely. They didn't try to play. Uninspired basketball. Fake news conference afterwards, Clay. So fake. Talking about we gonna learn from this. Oh, did y'all hear Charles Barkley say it's gonna go 7? That's what Barkley said. Charles Barkley said, "Don't be surprised it goes 7." He said game 7. So, and I made a video on Barkley. No matter what that brother, the t-shirts and hoodies is what all they should let him wear. He just does not look good in clothes. I mean, whoever's dressing him does not make him look good in clothes. The other cats look good in clothes. He looks frumpy, wrinkled. Oh, and y'all see, they're going to make Tom Brady the highest paid. Right now, the highest paid announcer is Charles. But they're going to make Tom Brady the highest paid. See how he's going to skip over Charles? I bet in the 20, almost 15 years, Barkley been with TNT, TBS, he ain't made $300 million. And they probably ain't made $300 million together. But look what they're doing for Barkley in 10 years. So you see the money they expect to make that they can pay them off with like that. And so we're going to see. I wouldn't be surprised they tell the truth about being scripted. Does anybody ever take the bets? The bets, the over and under bets they do in the fourth quarter? I've hit with a couple of them. Hey, Key, what's happening? Remember Mike Brown and Lou blew a 3-1 lead with Golden State before with LeBron? Hey, you know the other thing about Mike Brown? That was another thing. That was another thing. Make him lose, because he's the face of it right now. Make him lose. I saw that shaming immediately. When they went to the interview, I was like, oh, that's all they're trying to do. They're trying to shame him. Well, I thought so. Draymond must be turned AP on the Brotherhood or something. Could be. But I mean, I know Draymond is from Saginaw, I do believe. So I know him as a younger guy. Matter of fact, he was quite younger. But yeah, I mean, State got Magic, and he was even before Magic. It's been there, so you figure the same basketball coach. This kind of stuff is goes on with State. The coaches act upset about the games when they're part of it. They know. They've been with it long enough. They know the script. So it's it's no question. It's no question that he brought him in. Like this. What was it Rick Fox played in? Was it Epps played in it? Was it Everybody's All-American or something like that? But Omar Epps was having a visitation to the college. And maybe it was some other, but they show visitation. A lot of times they offer the girl and the sex and the parties. That's ritual in itself. You got the sex ritual, you got the drug ritual, and you come here and you can have this the most. You see, we'll give you this ritual as much as you want. And the guys who linger from the Lazarus effects, that would fall for that. And that's another generation. But I mean, some people are impressed with that. Well, I'm gonna go there because I can get all that pink booty I want. Well, what are you gonna study? That doesn't matter. It's just pink booty there, and they guaranteed me I could have some of it. Some, that's enough. Some, that's enough. Speaking of Draymond, his friends passed away. Yeah, his teammate passed away. You knew somebody other than the teammate? Somebody else other than the teammate passed away? I didn't know about anybody else around him. Well, his mama was in that denture commercial. Love and basketball. Okay, it was Love and Basketball. Okay, D, thank you. Pink booty, yeah. He got gang with Ray Allen, also Denzel. Yeah, I think, it might have been that one. Jesus Shuttleworth. They got a jersey you can buy the Jesus. Jesus. I mean, that would be dramatic in a motherfucker to see your father, he slapped your mother and she hit her skull upside the counter, and you killed your mother just because you got a hot temper. That'd be some shit. That'd be some shit you could really never get over. And he ain't hater, just couldn't control his feelings. My boy's grandmother tripped over the dog. She tripped over the dog. She wouldn't use a walker. She should have been walking with a walker, but she tripped over the dog and she hit herself perfectly right there and it killed her. She right in here, it hit her like perfect and it killed her instantly. just tripping over the dog and shit that I be doing, not looking where I'm going. Miami NBA champs 22. I don't know, SD. I don't know. Heard the Queen gonna pass May 20th, the Jesuits' New Year. Yeah. That's what Zach's saying. I watched him last night. I hear him say that. But maybe. I mean, they're getting ready for the King. Or Rick Fox was his tour guide. Yeah, Keith. There we go. That's a movie that had Rick Fox was in. Yeah, Rick Fox was his right. But these is rituals, you know. They show you their ritual, what they can do for you. Animal House, you know, when they show you, you know, the pain from the back. Thank you, sir. Can I have another? You dig that in Animal House? Kevin Bacon is getting paddled in his underwear. And, you know, the paddle is sodomy. You know, it's sodomy, pain from behind. You get the metaphor of that. So it's like he does it once and you have to say, thank you, do it some more. That's mentally what they telling you. That is mentally. No, he slapped her and she died by hitting her head on the story. Yeah, exactly. He hit her. Hit her is still slapping her. That's still hitting somebody. Yes, he slapped her. He hit her. If he would have left her alone, you know, maybe just pushed her in the wall, she wouldn't have fell off balance. Still murder. That's still to see that. Because, you know, the movie had him being super stern. You know, he was rigid. The movie had him being super stern, super rigid. And so he was so stern and so rigid that, you know, he just thought it was a slap and she'd fall. Then baby, I won't do it. No, she fell out of control. He didn't look at like, okay, if I hit her here, then she might trip and go over there. So he maybe should use the other hand. Good idea, Lorenzo. Instead of using that right, he should have used the left and she would have flew into the refrigerator and probably would have made it. Heard it from the Illusion Channel weeks ago. Okay, bet. Hey, Carrie D, how are you? Thank you for joining me. So, you know, I'm just getting into it, but that has to be traumatic as shit to go through some shit like that. It is. To see motherfucker die in front of you is no, and you know, you can get used to that, and that's a sad thing that you get used to hard to seeing shootings, and you just you learn, you live a certain type of life, and that's be around you, you know, and you feel that it's never gonna come at you. I knew a dude that was just a player. He was just a player messing with his dude's wife. So he comes over there to see the dude's wife. Dude opened the door. The dude was home and shot his head off point blank with a shotgun. I mean, literally shot the dude's head off. Family never took revenge against the guy, but when you live this kind of life, you have to pay attention all the time. You can't be lackluster. I mean, don't stand right directly in front of a goddamn door. You know, you're going to stand to the side. You're kind of leery of what's going on. Here's one for y'all to vote on. I want y'all to vote on this. I was with this woman in her house. I knew she had a child. That's all I knew. We're sitting there. The door starts to open and she tells me to run and heads to the back. And I'm kind of like, run from what? So her man comes in and I just look at him. I kind of jog out the back. You know, I figured I have a little more room because the house was kind of, you know, a thin like house. So I'm on the back just standing there and slip. I mean, literally slipped. I'm standing there and took a step back and slipped. Dude stood over me. And of course, you know, I wasn't going to be down long. Stood over me. And then he turned and he went and did something with her. I work girl. So I went my way. I went back home laughing because it was kind of funny to me. And luckily he didn't shoot me, but it was kind of funny. And then I see her, she went to work the next day and I mean, he had beat her up. Now, should I have chased them and defended her? Because not only did she not tell him the truth, she didn't tell me the truth either. So what do y'all think? Should I have defended her? Should I have fought over her? In your opinion, are we sovereign? Why wouldn't you be? Why wouldn't we be sovereign? When you're born, you're sovereign. All that paperwork stuff, I mean, you declare that yourself. your actions. I mean, Yosef is right, public or private, you can dwindle in both. You can dwindle in both. What did Brother Edwards say? Magbone Files say. He took the stuff to blend in. So there are times that you need to blend in both, but your sovereignty is your actions. That's where your sovereignty comes from, is your action. I mean, again, free will is social norms. So free will isn't necessarily a universal thing. It's a social norms. It's to say, okay, once every day is organized, this is the social norm. That is what free will is. You can pretty much do what you want in a controlled way, in the social normal way. That's what free will is. It is not really a true spiritual concept. It is a society concept. So yeah, that's what brings that. Y'all funny. Blue's gonna finish off the Wild tomorrow night. I think it's not looking good. Fury. They brought Fury in. Come on, Fury. But Fury did take the Golden Knights all the way to the championship a couple years ago, but no confidence in Fury. 2-0 lead, and you blow it, and you lose 4. Unless the guy had a weapon. No, he didn't have no weapon. You did the right thing, okay? Hell no. Iron, what's happening? Who do you think is winning the title? And what? Which sport? I'm still going with Philadelphia. I'm still going with Philadelphia and the Warriors. I mean, I'm gonna flow with the way the energy flows, but that's still what I see. I still see Harden being Oscar Robertson. There's the abilities there. Yeah, NBA Finals. Yeah. You ever want to be a Freemason? Not really. My best friend in North Carolina, one of them, was an elk. And he had cut into me. And I told the story before. I was giving raves. And I was making a killing. I stole them damn E-pills from a dude. And them pills was like 70, 80 a pop. And I took them from this simp. He had about 1,000 of them. And it was like 70, 80, $100 a pop. And I took like 1,000 from this fool. So I was giving raves. But I was going through just so much water. I'd have trucks delivering water. We had the shiny little things, and I was just renting the factories, So this Mason brother, I told, what's his name? Beaver. What was Beaver's name? Beaver. Was he a Little John? I can't remember if he's Little John, but Beaver Combs, that was his name. He's out of Texas. Beaver wasn't the Prince Hall one. He was the other kind of Mason. And they offered me, there's a building in downtown Kalamazoo. This was their building. It's right next to the police station. I noticed it was a Mason Hall, but I never see him do anything with it. He's like, man, you can give your raves up in there, whatever you want to do. The brothers want to bring you in. They're going to let you control this place. You just have activities up in here, how you need it. Had a little gym in there and everything. And that was the only time that I was like, but I was making so much money doing raves. I didn't need it. We were giving, cabarets. I was giving cabarets in Detroit. He's renting places in Detroit, giving cabarets. That's really like raves was nothing, but I had already been giving cabarets. So raves, when I started just, printing cards, I'm like, this is all I got to do and get these pills. That was easy. It was easy money. I, get a little factory and, all the factories that closed in Michigan, rent a little factory out. They can't wait to rent some space out and, get the water and get the little glow sticks. See, the cabarets, you had to have food and booze, it's just, but shit. In raves, you just had to have water for the motherfuckers. You had to have the food. So, that was the only time they really approached me. As I said, my brother went all the way up to 32nd. But no, that was it. I was born in a hospital called Singing River Hospital in Pascagoula, Mississippi. Singing River came from the Pascagoula tribe, which was peace-loving that sang hand to hand. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. I mean, what you have to understand that Mississippi was part of the old Spanish trade. And, when the Spanish came in here, wasn't nothing but melanated folks. And that would be called black people today. That's who the Spanish saw in Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama, Florida. These was the folks that was there. I would have broken up the fight. You can't let someone get beat up Okay, that's one for taking the ass whooping from her. I wouldn't have got my ass whooped. Dude was gay too. Not to say gay dudes couldn't fight, but he couldn't fight. I remember a dude knew his girl was over my crib talking about open the door, let me in. I had the can in his face. The tone changed. Yeah, I've had to do that before. But into the river to avoid fighting. Biloxi Indian tribe. It said that on a quiet night you can still hear them singing in their death chant. Oh wow, wow, that's deep. What do you what to do, flight crew? Hey J Bands, what's happening? Thank you for joining. It's pronounced Pascalua. Pascalua. Man, don't be correcting me on my show, man. We're gonna put you in timeout, Lorenzo. Pascalua. I hope I said that right. I know. Oh, I'm sorry. I knew the word, and I'm sorry I didn't pronounce it right. Wow. Wow, that's a deep story. But that, that goes to don't want to be slaved. That's the thing. Didn't want to be slaved. That's why you have to understand is they slaved the children the most. The children was the ones that was the easiest to slave. They fought and killed the adults. It was easier to slave the children. That's what they started taking to Europe first. They started taking, they ended up taking children to Europe. There's life underwater. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Chianti, definitely. Well, one of the things that really connected me and Sly had heard me talk about Marduk and Marduk moving around the ocean. And one of the first things we talked about that connected us was he had caught a report where it was this black blob that was moving in the ocean they was following. And Marduk is known to live actually under the ocean, but it appeared like they was following Marduk and they followed him from like Africa all the way over into Japan. And some think when that atom, when they say that the nuclear plant went off in Japan, some say that was actually an attack on Marduk because they followed where that black blob went. And that black blob didn't go far from where that nuclear plant supposedly went off. There are several people that considered that's what they was trying to go after Marduk, but they was able to, follow his trace. That's so for most of the time, whoever gave them the technology to follow him like that in the ocean. And so absolutely, that's the problem with Godzilla trying to tell you they can't go deep. The water floods them out. They try to tell you it's a crystal core. That's what we'll all agree on. It's a crystal core. It ain't that iron shit they taught when I was a little boy. The middle of the earth is crystal, crystal core. That's really how, and that's a little bit of string theory, the way the energy would come out from that. But that's why they'll never be able to get down in that shit. You know how Medusa would see the motherfuckers and turn them into rocks? That's what would happen to them. Whatever, no matter what they would send down there, it would turn into rocks. Russians, you can follow how deep the Russians went. And that's how they even came up with it's another ocean down there. They kept trying to go so deep and couldn't figure out where's all this water coming from. And it just hit them. It's another ocean. There's an ocean in Earth. So, the way they design this shit, they know how to keep these motherfuckers out. I heard we had tornadoes. Yeah, we had tornadoes. I was saying about when I went to work, we quit working. I went in at 5. We quit working about 7:15. They put us all like in the western part because when it's a tornado, you're supposed to be in the western part of your dwelling if you don't have a basement. It was a warehouse, so we all went into we got a pretty big cafeteria area. We all went up in there, and he was like, as long as that storm went out, because you remember the factory, the people was working in the factory got swept away, so people got killed. So I think that's what they're thinking. Insurance hit is better to have us, So that's what we did. It was raining hard as shit. My daughter called me crying, because it's storming and shit. When I drove home, it was so much lightning that it lit up. It was like it was raining hard as shit, but it was literally thundering. I mean, the thunder was like lighting up everything. It was interesting. Every 10 feet I was going, it was just lightning. But we had tornado watch for a long time, but we was anticipating this. When I talked about it when I came on this afternoon, that they had anticipated this storm, and so I knew that I'd be at work. But yeah, the sirens went off and we chilled. My son said the same thing. He said he went in at 4 and they was done. He said at 7 they closed the place down. Because like now, like where I get my beer from, he said he was closed for a minute. He stopped all deliveries. They deliver beer up here. You can call the store. They give you beer up to 10 o'clock. They don't close till 10. So you call them, they'll bring the shit to your house. Be like, man, I need some more of that vodka. What kind? Any kind you got. Bring me whatever. Where do you live? Trust, I was born there, but I'll claim where I'm raised in a heartbeat. That's Goucher. Okay, I feel you. Remember when the ocean was on fire? They tried to say it was from an oil spill. Yeah. They were saying that they couldn't connect the two. The fire was just shooting out. Yeah. Yep, I remember that. Do I think space is real? I mean, which space? Because like when you look at a TV and you see all the pixels that the TV has, there's millions of pixels. Well, the same thing goes on into matter. It's millions of pieces of matter put together and all this. So what is this space? What is this space? I mean, really, I've told this many times. I go out, like when I get in touch with everything, I'll stare at a planet and I'll look around and the reality changes. Again, I'm looking at people just sleeping in free space. People sleeping in free space. Hey, I can see where ain't no houses and it's just the people sleeping and the people think they're in these houses and sleeping in beds when it's still just space. Now, I guess the question you want to say, do I think that outer space is outer space? I think there's high sky. I think that there's our sky. You can go up so high in our sky. I mean, I show the thing where we can experience that without a plane. You can experience that. Now, can you even push further in the galaxy? Yes, you can push to where your knowing can take you. Robert Simmons, this the big motivated guy, talks about, the first time he had motivated, he was able to connect with all, as it says, separate cycles in the great serpent. He was able to separate the cycles and go through all the planets. You can vibe high enough to see what's there or what's your conception of what's there. Now, it's the space station or that shit. I mean, why do you think they're taking people up there? You think if it was real space, outer space, they would take people up there no matter how much money you got. They would take that liability. It's just planes. It's the same thing. Space station is just a plane. All this stuff is just planes. Satellites is what do you call them? The little things drones. It's just drones. I mean, it's obvious that I've been catching people talking about stuff about work, but that's all right. I saw two suns 3 summers ago. I saw 2 suns. One came first and the other came right behind it. So how do you explain that? How did I see 2 passing suns? What was that? I wasn't seeing shit. I'm going to need cataracts in about 10 years. I didn't need them then. 2 suns passed. I stared at a lot of sky. I've watched lightning for 4 hours. 4 hours lightning. No, like thunder. I'll say thunder. 4 hours thunder, 4 hours lightning. I saw thunder hit where it looked like a beam. I was able to look at it hit, and then I hid behind my garage door. But when I hit, it looked like a beam. So the sun ain't the sun that I grew up in as a little boy. They show the rocket ship going in the sky. They show a rocket. That's what they show you. The Nazis was able to do that. The Nazis was firing rockets at England's ass. So they've been doing that. They've been doing that for almost 100 years, being able to fire rockets 4th of July, you can buy rockets. So that ain't nothing to show rockets. You know, Jeff Bezos with the penis rocket. I remember being at my grandma's house where it started thundering. My siblings and I had to turn off all electricity off. We'd be in the dark, wondering why we sitting in the dark. That was my wife grew up, my ex-wife, my first wife, she was the same way. If it was like a storm and she was talking to her mama like, well, I got to get off this phone, you know, that storm. But they did the same thing. They did that. We ain't never do that in my house. But my ex, they did that. They definitely did that too. And they lived. I've told this many times. My ex grew up hard times. I mean, I didn't know the way my ex grew up. I did not know people. I saw people that were sharecroppers. I saw a few of my in 70. I was in 3rd grade, 69, 70, probably the summer of 70. I saw a few melanated people that would sharecrop in the area, and they lived in like one little room with a dirt floor. This is where they slept, and this is where they lived. They had a little water. It was a outhouse. But my ex grew up on a plantation, 2-room house, 3-room house, 2 bedrooms, no running water, and a kitchen. They had a stove and a refrigerator. They had to throw a bucket in the well and bring their water up. She was raised her whole life. The only time she could take a shower was at school. What they considered taking a bath was putting water in a bucket and soaping up. Yeah. Okay, so for her to get her master's and been in the same house for close to 30 years, hands off, give her a clap. One night I saw a full moon that had another moon in it. Yeah, the moon is very reflective too. This stuff ain't what it used to be. My aunt used to do the same thing. Yeah. I was never like that. I know I was never like that, but that's what she would say. Yeah, it's a storm, so we better get off this phone. Like you talking and it's going, the shit's going to go through it. Again, I'm old enough to remember party lines. My great-grandparents still had their party line up. My great-grandmother wouldn't stop having it. And it was the people living in the area. You could listen to them talking shit. My great-grandmother, that was like her TV or radio. Being able to sit there and listen to other people talk. She was stalking, lurking. My great-grandmother be lurking on people's calls and shit. And then talk about them and shit. Ooh, Mrs. sleeping with Susan. I'm like, oh my goodness, this shit is comical to me. But she used to have that smile on her face, and she'd hear the call, and it wouldn't be for her, but she wouldn't hang up because everybody would answer at the same time, until they got the person, who it was, party line, because everybody couldn't afford the phone by themselves. And, oh yeah, she came a long way. She really did. She really did. I couldn't be proud of her. I just couldn't live with her, and she was good. Like when my son asked me, like, what was wrong with his mama? Wasn't nothing wrong with his mama. It was something wrong with me. It was too much dog in me, and she was good to me. I mean, very good. We helped each other. I took her. I brought her to Michigan, put her in a perfect situation. She's still best friends with my stepmother, and my stepmother was teaching. She fresh getting her teaching degree. She subbed 1 year. Next year, she was offered a job. She had tenure within 4 years. She had tenure before she was 30. She had tenure. And she did 30 years, something like that. She still worked part-time. She was able to retire in her early 50s. So, guy she with, I ain't beating on her. I ain't to beat his ass or nothing. They never got in with him. I had to correct him one time because my boy's mom did some foul shit and used their address. And somebody was threatening them. Somebody was like threatening them. And I'm like, they're screaming at me and I'm trying to like understand what they're talking about. And I was like, did you get court papers? Did you get a summons? They're like, no, they're going to take us. I'm like, did you get a summons to go to court? And so they talk shit to me. And I've said, look, I ain't never disrespected you. I ain't never yelled at you. But I will come to Michigan and beat your ass. So you better calm down, read me the letter, and then we'll figure this out. He read the letter, and it was just one of them letters from threatening, collection agency. And they apologized. They was like, we sorry. I'm like, I ain't got nothing to do with that. They ain't got nothing to do with me. She probably did the shit. She denied it, but I know she did the shit. Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, I'll smoke a cigar. I'll smoke a cigar if they win. Absolutely. I don't mind smoking them. That lightning shit is real. Oh, man, I saw a lightning hit. I saw a figure about 12 feet big, and I clearly saw the face. I mean, the body was streamlined, but it was a face, and I don't mean like a human face. I mean, it was a flat face, but you saw like eyes and like a mouth in it. And it was about 12 feet, and it was like a silver shiny bean and that shit. And I turned, because like I was sitting there and just caught it. It was like, ooh, and I saw the lightning hit the ground, and then I turned and boom. But I saw the figure, that whatever the fuck that was, I saw that thing. But seeing the two suns, it seems like a simulator. And not to say you can't take advantage of it, but it doesn't seem like the sun is a child. I don't ever remember the sun being as close looking as it is, as we see it. I've never remembered that, and I'm 60. So you just say since I was 3 years old, I've never seen what we have now. The same with the moon. It's funny. You put a telescope and you time lapse the moon and it's moving, but you watch the moon. You can watch the moon for hours and you don't never see it move. How is that? How is you time lapse the moon and it's moving, but you stand out there for 6 hours and look at it? You look at it in a telescope and you won't see it move. How is that? It'll still be the same face. You watch it minute after minute, hour after hour. You see the same face. How you explain that? How do you explain that? And they tell you that bullshit. Well, it's moving such a distance. You can't. No. Same thing. I'll say this for flat plane. And how does all this shit move? And we don't have any conception of it moving other than time. The only way they can conceptualize that this shit moves is through time. And they invent time either. That ain't their invention either. They've taken it, but they didn't invent the idea of it. But that's the only way they can tell you that any of this shit changes is by time. If you live now this is the thing. This is something to think about. When you live in nice weather and the seasons don't change, you kind of lose the conception of time. Now, I know when I lived in North Carolina, it got cold a little bit. I mean, the weather changed a little bit, rained a lot. August, going into football season, it rained a lot. Compared to up here where we have 3 seasons. The seasons clearly change. We have it all. 4 seasons, excuse me. So I don't know. Hey, GB, Jeb TV, what's happening? Well, thank you. Hey, Valerie, thank you. A lot of speculators. 30 people watching. Don't matter. People want to watch. I don't care. How you doing, Valerie? Valerie, you didn't give me a size, Valerie. Give me a size, Valerie. Give me a size. Because, just spent a grip on Mother's Day. Oh, my goodness. We had some good food Sunday. But, yeah. So, I can't send out Sean's stuff because Sean said he's moving. I'll try to send out everything off next Friday. I think, because I do need to get Valerie a shirt. I need to go out and get Conspiracy University's hat. And I might even send PJ a shirt next week. So give me next week and I'll get the stuff off. The first order's off. So you've been a ladies' man. Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
Look, you would come on the page of my rhyme book.
Oh, my goodness. Captain Underpants.
Yeah. Worked a hard day's work.
Man, yeah, I've been involved with some beautiful women. All my really children's moms, when they was the freshest, they was beautiful, in their own way, their own way. So each in their own way was beautiful. You know, I like all types of women. Like I said, I like the women that like me. But in my life, I've ran into a lot of beautiful women. I mean, A&T. When I went to A&T, it was only 5,000 students, and it was like 3,800 women. So on campus, I don't know why I did that. Didn't really need to do that. On campus, it was something like 4-1. But then across the street was Bennett College. And Bennett College had a really racist history. This is black college, but they was pretty much only taking light-skinned chicks. You had to send your picture in when you sent your application, and the government hit them for doing that shit. And so they end up letting some booger bears come in. But I had some really beautiful, beautiful women that went to Bennett College. One played ball. My friend's sister, I started macking on his sister. I don't know how that even happened, but I ended up macking on her. He found out about it, and I gave him a hit of acid, and he never mentioned it again. Because I was with my future wife, and he's like, man, let me talk to you. And he's like, not really talking in code. He's kind of talking in code. He's like, what's, because we called it across the way. When you went to Benny, he was like, across the way. He's like, what's happening with you? You've been going across the way. And I'm like, well, this ain't really the time. He's like, yes, it is the time. And, you know, it's like, is that true? And I'm saying, I like, take this right here. And he was the one that was chasing cars. This girl wanted to kill me because every time a car would go by, this nigga was chasing cars on acid. Car would go by, he would chase it. And then when she finally got him to stop chasing cars, because he's like just dripping in sweat, he said he sang every song from 3 a.m. till 9 a.m. Every song that came on the radio, he sang it. Hammers. Okay, yeah, I guess I have heard that. Hammers, yeah. Hey, Reese, thank you for joining me. Same, I love all women. I mean, my oldest daughter's mother and I, the girl I said that story that got beat up, she saw me a couple days later. She's like, you know, she apologized, and we hooked up a couple days later. And we end up, I mean, my oldest daughter, my son is like less than a year apart. They're about a year apart. So I had them pregnant damn near at the same time. And we was together. We like messed around for 10 years. I mean, we messed around like that for 10 years. In the cars, at work. As I said before, we worked in the same buildings. Our security, it was like 5 buildings. And we used to go have sex in all 5 buildings. She's like, which one you want to meet at today? I'm like, go, because she would get her hair done, you know, or something. You know, she would just come down there. It would just be me on Saturday, Sunday, just me, you know. If somebody want to get in, they're going to wait. Unless they had the garage door opener, like one of the real managers, but most people had to wait. But it was always people staying, you know, it's dorms up in there. I used to get parties at that motherfucker. So, B. Brown, is humans' life scripted from birth? Our parents and things we have since a baby? Yeah, in some ways it is. It's funny, quantum of science was talking about that. You know, what do they say? It's all foretold, foreshadowed. I think there's probably some realism to that. I look at the way I was guided. I mean, some of my first gifts was a football helmet and a football. That was some of the first things I ever owned. The first things I remember was wearing a football helmet and holding a football, tackling my dad, tackling my mom. So even though my father didn't go very far at football, he was prepared to hand it off to me. Now, I got caught in a thing that a lot of dudes get caught in. Some things that you are passionate about, your children will rebel because they think you're forcing what you like on them, not understanding that this can be a whole lifestyle. You know, they only see one part of it is the competing part, but it's more the companionship, the relationships that you can have and build with people, trusting people to do their job, do what they're supposed to do under pressure. It teaches all those kind of things. Now, I'll say this. I will say this. This reality really has to, like when they say the thing to Ford in the road, and get this, because it is definitely like this. When they say you have two decisions to make, do you go left or do you go right? Well, the way this reality is set up, it is already created both ways. The story is also, if you go right, the story is already there for you to go right. If you go left, that story is there. Now, can some of that left going story change? That's the way this reality is. It will change with it. But it is on, as soon as you go down that path, it is already foretold. It is already there. So is that the fates? That's what people tie into the fates. Is that fates? I don't know. But life, reality makes less sense than it once did. Now, the one part I'll say with the mud flood people, to push that is the history is a lie. There's no way you can believe that Cortez conquered 10 to 100 million people with 500 people, 2,000 max. There's no way. I don't care how many people hated the Aztecs. There's no way that could be done. That's the first lie of reality. That can't be done. To say because they had armor, which is hot in South America, Mexico, and they had swords, numbers outweigh that. As I've said many times, how did they sleep and not be attacked? At some point, you're telling me that they had enough allies where they could go sleep somewhere and be properly rested, properly fed. They didn't have that many horses. It was like 20, 30 horses. They only had 5 old-fashioned guns, the ones that you had to put a stake in the ground and you put the single shot on top of it, a big piece of wooden block. They only had 5 of them, and they only had a limited amount of gunpowder. So you're telling me that I have 500 people because I have swords, shields, and horses that I can beat 10,000. Sheer numbers would take you over. I could throw 500 people at you and then followed by 5. And fighting is the way they did that. That's exhausting. So you telling me after 30 days, if so many motherfuckers attacked them every day constantly, they could survive. But everywhere they went, and my brother brought this up, is they put Cortez in white, which made him think that he was Cortacozo, because they was always pushing the Cortacozo is the white god, the white feathered god. And so my brother's the one that came up with it. He had some kind of white feathers on. So he did trick a lot of people thinking like the movie that the dude who played Wolverine in The Life Tree or something like that, when they're up in the terrace pyramid and he always kills him. And then when the dude gets the right answer at the end, he says, Cortacozo, I didn't know that was you. He sees the white god. So it's the same thing. Now you have to make sure they don't have it. That they get the bop gun on them. Was the Temptations one of your favorite groups of all time? Yeah. David Ruffin and the Temptations. Yeah. My Girl. Yeah. The way you do the things you do. I'm doing fine on cloud 9. What was it? I can fly like a bird in the sky. Oh, I can buy anything that money can buy. I can turn a river into a blazing fire. I can live forever if I so desire. So yeah, heavenly, heavenly, heavenly. Yeah, it's one of my favorite. I love the Temptations, I have to say. I feel no matter what stage, you're going to have the same parents and the same children. Ooh. Now, I've said this before, and I've told my mother this, and I've told my brother this. As an energy, As an energy, my mother, my brother, and myself have been together. The three of us, and it appears like we've played different roles. I've experienced that where we've all played different roles, but the three of us have always, it seems, been together. So I would kind of you can switch places too in that. And I don't know if that's reincarnation. I don't know, but it's just through being here now, and when the visions come in, I see us together but in different roles. So some of that I agree. Been saying that since a child. You have different paths in life that can lead to the same result. It's just timing. Timing is, yeah, it really is. That's why I was saying about the czar and possessing people. It's not easy. It's not like I imagine the way I've been taught by the sisters. It is not with the blood. So I guess the way they put me in the halls, it is practicing seeing the scenes and going into beings. And it's like almost kind of fly fishing where you really gotta reel it in and put your consciousness in really quick, because if you miss, you miss. And you go back, you keep going down the hallway. So I guess without doing the blood, but you can aim it, but without doing the blood, that is part of how it is too. But yeah, timing. Hey, Firewater, thank you. Super Cap, I need a refund from Temple University. Well, Bomber been saying her story, her story. Yeah, that's what Bomber been thinking. Oh yeah, I love the Temptation. Psychedelic Shack, that's where it's at. Let me tell you a little place I know. To get in, you don't need much dough. Oh, I know too many. My children know that. Out to you. It might sound strange. I wish it would rain. my children will say that kind of shit because they used to hear it. And I think my overall favorite group is the Dramatics. But when I can't sleep, Cowboys and Girls. Cowboys and Girls, and that's from the '60s. I was a little guy when that Cowboys and Girls, but I listened to that. Tighten Up. Tighten Up has the hand claps. You should clap. I'm telling you, when you get together, you should clap, because that can burn off attachments too. Every day I listen to the Tighten Up. They got a part where it's hand clapping. I do that shit every day. I clap because, like, when I do these bowls, it's certain shit that don't like this shit. I pretty much have myself in a vortex. I use these pyramids, these Popolite pyramids, and you put one in the middle. And, this is pretty much a protected vortex, because doing this shit, it's shit that be trying to come, and it gets, repelled. But we pick up attachments. And clapping is the way you can get rid of them. I mean, it's very simple. You just play a little melody and you just clap. I clap hard, but it's like dance. You got to dance, because energy, your energy can get stale. So you dance. You want to keep that energy moving around you. You want to, love or above. And when you dance, you feel good. When you dance, it's just, that's part of the spiritualness of is dancing. It's a spiritual thing. That's why you gotta, love what they do in the South. Just Richard Pryor say in Louisiana they dance to the drop of a hat. Well, that's how it should be. You don't sit there and just cry and be sad. I mean, your love for that person helps move that person on. So if you stay in that sadness, that's what they want you to do, because they don't want that person moved on. So they want that dread there. They want dread around you. And everybody looks at as dread. No, don't go, that kind of thing. Not to say that you can't reflect, but, those of you that is your family, you got a duty to help push that energy out as well as you can. You can just, I mean, I know it's shocking, it's hurting, but when you're there, again, if you can, make sure their heads are in the east. And if you can, you rub the top of their heads. Yes, hold their hands, but you start trying to stimulate this. Because when you think death is coming, prepare. Even for yourself, prepare. Like I've said many times, and I'm gonna live on this. They tell me I got some shit, and they talking about injecting some shit in me. Nah, it ain't worth it. It ain't worth it to hang around. It ain't worth it. If this is the end of existence, and I've seen myself be an extremely old motherfucker, so I know they want this shit where it's just gonna be sagging and dragging. Chicken Chong shirt Becca has the UK colors. The shirt got the Ukraine colors and shit. I've had this shirt for about 4 years. This shirt older than motherfucker. I think I got this shit from Walmart. They don't have a Pops. They got them as Pops characters, but they don't have a Pops. They don't. Cheek and Chong don't have Pops, but they show a shirt with the Pops. I guess it is. That's funny. That's really funny. If you was in the middle of a nowhere, what crystal would you have for protection? Oh, definitely this obsidian. I mean, Shugite. I guess Shugite would be the number one go-to, but he would be there. He wouldn't leave me. I wouldn't even have to bring him. He's with me all the time. This is like my guy. I don't really say much when I hold him, but he be there. But I mean, Shugite, Shugite would be my first go-to. But even if I didn't carry this, he would be there. So this one comes with me. He's in my bag, He's in my bag, man. That's what's in my bag. So Shugite or the obsidian. If I would get tired of being viewed, treated like I'm a freak show because of my height. I mean, they created him, so he ready for it. They created him. They put him off in the fireplace and put the two parents that would have a child like that. Yes, Dr. Michelle Gibson say to set up afterworld altar for yourself makes sense. That's a good point. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Like I noticed I had knocked Jimi Hendrix over in my altar and I picked him up. Like when I play, I start with my music in the bathroom and then I take my music in my bedroom and I put it right in front of, my cave where Jimi Hendrix is inside. And I give him tobacco in the cave. I give all the Hathor, I give her, I've got water, I got candy. Him, Natalie, my daughter leave drinks and they was getting full, so I had to kind of put him under where he is, but I've given him drinks, money, candy. They're all covered with crystals. They're covered with crystals. So, yeah. I mean, you can set up an ancestor one too, and it's the same thing. You don't leave little things that they liked, colors that they liked. Man, I always talk about this book because there ain't really many books to prepare you for death. It's a lot of reading and it's somewhat boring, but it gives you the pointers on how to prepare and how to shut all this down. And that's one thing. Okay, threw it on the floor. Don't think I can reach it. No. That's one thing. Yeah, I want to go step by step with that too, because you have so many orifices that you want to, because when you pass, you want to go straight out here, but you have to shut a lot down inside. See, I would rather teach that than teach people about chakras, because there's a pattern that you have to shut everything down. You have to, and I've went through it before, but you have to shut everything down. All these worlds got to be shut down because everything was going to come when you move through. So I think I, get a little more organized and want to show that and talk more about that and be in depth about how we would do that and practice it, have some weekly classes where we can practice that kind of thing, because it makes you have no fear. And I failed, when I went to the hospital, I had a heart attack before. I failed, I felt bad. I failed to fear, and so I failed there. So I got to be better myself. Accept what's coming, accept what is. So, I'll talk about that. But that's the thing, is study death. Study the way to move on, because you move, and this is what throws people off. When it shuts down, it's total blackness comes. I mean, it comes like that. It really does. It comes like that. It is, even if you astro travel, go to the ethers, when that death black comes, it catches you. It catches you like, oh, this is like, it is almost every sound, every sensation just stops and you are totally in a void. And it's quick when it happens. It is like 1 minute, this life and all this sensations and stuff, and it just the complete opposite. And quick. When it hits, it's like, whoa. because I don't know what else happened. I was laying on the couch one day and I that shit came in. I was just laying down and that shit came in. And I saw, I'm like, whoa. I mean, it was just the how quick it shuts everything off. And even if you leave your body in astral travel, that even takes used to seeing that. Like, whoa, this is different black. And it really is. Death is a different type of darkness than when we, project out of our bodies. But it's the same thing. It's like, cut off everything is here. And then, even if you're in the black, you just release out here. And then it moves on because it's all around us. You close your eyes, and I mean, really clear your mind and close your eyes. And I got all these lights here, but I mean, we can even just do a quick 2-minute exercise. You can just close your eyes. And when you close your eyes, now I got all these lights here, so it's going to be harder for me. But when you close your eyes, start, and again, depending on what's going on around you. But if you are kind of in an area where you can close your eyes and the TV ain't on, and you can just, the lights ain't too much, and you can start seeing what projects out. Now, the more you do this, you start being able to see fractals. I talk a lot about fractals because that is how you tell a society, is how the fractals, but I won't get into that. But what you start seeing when people say what houses you come from, what star houses, what they're trying to tell you is what reality is around you all the time. What real reality are you a part of? Because the same space we hold, when you close your eyes, you start seeing what the real space is. It's like I'll actually see where I go under, structures. I can start seeing structures. And sometimes, like with She Legit, it comes in clear. I'll clearly see what structures that I'm part of. Now, I've talked about my relationship with Hathor Mu. I remember I had made it up to this one part, and I made it up top, and I was standing there, and Mu came floating by looking like a young Queen Elizabeth. It was just her head, and she just looked at me and smiled because I had made it. I had made it, and like she just still guide, but I'm standing in a structure. So that's when you get serious about meditating, this is the kind of stuff you start seeing. Like I know whatever I'm going into is gold. Whatever main kind of energy I'm about is a gold kind of structure. When I get into purple, I tend to be moving. Purple, like a lot, like when I say going into the hallways of the czars, that'd be purple pushing. That's what I found out. Now, sometimes the structures kind of be purple. And I've said before, if you stay in the red tends to be the lower vibrationals. But you still see the same kind of structures and everything when you close your eyes to try to, raise out of that. Now, if that's for you, I can't say if that's good or bad. I can't really say. If that's all you can, the fractals that's around you. But red tends to be a lower vibrational. But you have to start somewhere. So. I'm sorry, I've been talking. Get you. Allowing your consciousness to lead a body via lucid dreams and transcendental meditation will help. It does. It prepares you. But I'm telling you, that death black, whoo, that shit. That's some different shit than meditating black. It's some different shit. That death black is like, whoa, it is like when they call it the void, it is the void. It is not bullshit. And that shit. And even though you are transitioning to this other stuff, when that death stuff come in, it even cut you off from that at first. It's like, oh, starting all over again. But I mean, it's nothing to fear. It's you accept that and say, okay, it ain't just it, move on. And as I said before, West Benary's work, a lot of people do get that middle ground of death that teach you how to, be dead. That some people experience that. Like when they talk about acoustic records, some people get to go through that, like right after they die, they get to go through all that. So there is kind of a way that shows you, and that's the anime scene kind of told you that. One thing I noticed when a team is playing on the road and they show their crowd watching the game back home, it's usually something big down the line for that road team. Example, last year, Bucks. I think Toronto was a big give, that big tell that did that too. Hey, Pale Horse Rider, how you doing? Remember Toronto? Remember Toronto, Lorenzo? Toronto was the one was showing all the people outside and shit. Yeah, Toronto was doing that too, big time. And some PJ gave me, and I think PJ said that to Lobo, so I felt silly when I mentioned it because I was like, "Oh, PJ already mentioned it." But and I'll tell my Bob Lanier story. So there used to be a retail chain called Zayre's. It was in the mall. You know, Kalamazoo had the actually first mall downtown Kalamazoo. That's why they call it Mall City. Actually, the first mall was downtown. Then they built two. They built one, and they built another one that put the first one out of business. But at one point, there was two malls, and Zayre's was part of the mall. I lived across the street, literally like up the block. You know, to go to the end of my block, highway, go into Zayre's. So they put in the paper, said on the news, I don't remember which one, that Bob Lanier was going to be at Zayre's at 5 o'clock. So I got up. My mother's like, "Where you going?" I was like, "They say Bob Lanier is going to be over there," and he was with the Pistons. And sure enough, I walked in the sports department. There he was. He had on gaiters, but his gaiters was like well, I'm going to tell the truth. He had two live gators, like he was standing on them with his foot inside their bodies. I mean, they was baby gators, but well, maybe they was dead, but they was like gators. They didn't clip off the feet or nothing. I mean, he was wearing two baby gators, so it was like, these big baby gators feet, because I think everybody that meets him, the first thing they look down is like, God damn. But big dude, 6'11". He was a 6'11" dude, 6'10", without a big ass head, like Artis Gilmore and Elmo Smith. Artis Gilmore must have had I think Artis Gilmore's head was 3 feet. He had the biggest head. OJ had like a fat head. Artis Gilmore, Elmo Smith too. But yeah, I think either Elmo Smith or Artis Gilmore had 3 feet heads. I mean, their heads was like a little boy big, but went to Bob. Bob was like, "Hey, Bob, what's that?" He's like, "Oh, you want an autograph?" Gave me an autograph picture. Showed him my Bob. Oh, I got a picture of Bob Lanier. I got an autograph picture of Bob Lanier. So, yeah, back in 2019, they watched the Raptors in Jurassic Park. There you go. Hey, Pale Horse, what's happening? Even though he got his head down. But yeah, that was my Bob Lanier story. He was cool. I sat there and rapped to him. Wasn't nobody up there. Nobody else came when I was up there. I talked to him for a minute, and he was dressed nice. But it was the biggest dress shoe I didn't even know. I was thinking, where the fuck do they got a shoe like that? That's really what I was thinking. He had gaiters on too. He was in Detroit. He had gaiters on. I'm like, where the hell did he get them kind of gaiters? He was cool. He had like a little light raincoat on. It was, I think, spring or fall. I can't remember. But damn, they paid him to be up in there, and he was up in there. Big Bob. Yes, he was. Yeah, he's a big guy. Yeah, definitely a big guy. And I was like, I'm trying to think. 8th grade, maybe? Did I live in that house in 9th grade? Yeah, I think, yeah. Yeah, I think, yeah. I lived, I think I lived in that house in 8th and 9th. So I was in probably 8th grade. So yeah, I wasn't young as I thought. I had to be in about 8th grade when I saw him. Yeah. Big guy, though. Big guy. Real big guy. He hooked. Watch his game. He hooked. Had a hook shot. That was kind of his go-to hook across the middle. Magic kind of did the same kind of move. And nobody teaches that anymore. It makes no sense. That they don't want that shot. They don't want that shot in the NBA anymore. As I said, you watch the game from the 40s and the early 50s, that's all everybody do. Throwing hooks from, 16, 18 feet out off the glass. Throwing hooks. The game is nothing but hooks at one point. And you telling me nobody can use that shot anymore? That tells you they don't want people to do that shot. For some reason. The dude who created the jump shot, this. There's a statue of him. He's from Indiana. That's why Oscar Robertson shot one hand. George McGinnis, one hand. Look, there's a high school picture. Oscar Robertson's a great book. Talks about Oscar Robertson, how they grew up in Indiana. I can't think of the name of it, but you can probably look that up. Book about Oscar Robertson growing up in Indiana. Great book. But it talks about the dude who created the jump shot. Because up to then it was a two-hand set shot. Like, two-hand basically launch like this. It was either you hook shot, like when you was on the move, somebody guarding you, you hooked it. But if you just stood there, they call what was called a two-hand set shot, where you kind of two-handed. So one dude in Indiana in high school started that. He would jump in the air over everybody and drop one hand and shoot, create this U. And that's the perfect way to shoot. You create the U. Not like this. Jackson's like this. Watch Jackson. He brings it here. Lonzo was kind of like Keith Wilkes. Had that little. Keith Wilkes was kind of like here. My man, though, Sugar McLaughlin. Money from 30. I should do a video on how different cats shot. Be a million stories. What we got here? He seemed like a cool guy. He wore 22s. He wore 22s, Lorenzo. He wore size 22s. Yeah, I'm telling you that it took a couple Gators to make them big motherfuckers. But yeah, he wore size 22. How Celtics ain't challenged when they had 1 second left, 20 seconds left, and Giannis just falls and slips. Good point. I knew it was over when I saw the blood coming down and Greek looked like a Greek god warrior. Yeah, that was all. Hey, Mr. Lamborghini Lake, like what's happening? But yeah, Pale Horse, that was all dramatic effect. Hey, Stacey Ray, thank you for joining. That was all dramatic effect. As I had to work. I missed the game. But so I made the video. I saw the where they, again, they're trying to get him mid-range. They're like, Giannis, we need you mid-range. That's why I caught that. And that was coming off highlights. I'm like, they trying to say, well, they're making fun of your jump shot. So maybe let's look at your mid-range. We can help your mid-range game. And that's why I showed that. That's what they did. They helped the shot away. He's a robot. Now you tell me what American young man can go into the NBA if all he can do is dunk? Zion Williams. See? Another Giannis. Remember how he was shooting a set shot? Magic shot a set shot. Water should taste soft. Should taste soft in your mouth. You drink that city water, it ain't soft. It is harsh. I think I've sucked this thing, it's leaking or some shit. I have to say though, y'all, I'm joyful. I rode the wave, and the wave only gets better. What did Joe Namath say? I can't wait till tomorrow because every day I get better looking. That's how I've been feeling. I'm shining. And it's interesting when you start shining and you do things for people and they realize you're shining, they're like, oh, it flips their script a little bit. It's like, yeah, I don't need that. I'm good. I'm doing my thing. You do your thing while I do my thing. Oh. How Giannis gonna have no exaggeration. How Giannis gained no ration from rookie year to his 3/4 year, like 6-7 inches tall, like 60 pounds of muscle. They supersized and probably steroids too. Yeah. Well, David Robinson went into the Navy like 6'1", 6'2", and grew to be 7 foot. That's what put him out. I mean, he's too big to, he's smart. He's going in to work on subs. 7-footer can't be in no damn sub. You mentioned how the NBA tried to make it half American-born players and half foreign-born players. that goes to show you how they're trying to take the game as we know it away from us. Oh, absolutely. 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 They are. They're trying to take it away from us, put us out. As I said, a lot of the sad thing about it is even though a lot of Spanish players we see making, and people don't realize baseball screws players until they 7, 8 years in. They screw them. Now that's why, the older dudes make money because they get paid on the back end, but it's to a point where they screw them and you get stuck in the minor leagues. Now, minor leagues, you can play 20 years in the minor league and you end up a millionaire. You end up a millionaire, your health ain't gonna be that bad. But that's why they're creating all this other basketball. You tell them that look, this is what happened. When you couldn't make it in the NBA, you would go to Europe. Europe was our minor league. Now, any minor league player can get better, but the NBA has backed those European leagues damn near from their conceptions. And now we're getting, top draft picks from this minor league when there are players in America with the same skills. That's what's sad. For every European player you see, that's an American player that didn't make it or stuck in the G League or stuck on the bench. Might not even make it at all. And that's the problem. There's no need for not one player from any country to make it on any pro sport in America. I'll say baseball is an exception because they created baseball. So yes, this is America. All the Americas. You come from Canada, that's America. You come from fucking Nova Scotia, you come from the Arctic Circle, that's America. You playing on the islands, that's America. When I'm talking about Europe, there's not need for one. You can't say Luka had more talent than it's 10 Lukas given the chance, given the calls. There's 10 Lukas in America if you give them the chance and give them the calls that he gets. As I said, they don't like him. They don't like Luka. So I don't know how far, like the other dude that played with the Knicks that the Mavericks got rid of. They don't like him either. Luka seems to be somewhat in that vein. Valerie, thank you for asking. He is doing well. He is doing well. He's doing well. He had to work tonight. I got to go pick him up tomorrow. He can get a ride to work, but I have to pick him up. It's not that far. It'd take me probably 20 minutes to go pick him up, if that. So, yeah, I want to help him succeed. So that seems to be helping him, but thank you for asking. Yeah. I was giving him something else to do other than playing video games all day. Gives him a little purpose. So thank you for asking. But yeah, Lorenzo, he's doing good. He really is. Doing pretty good. David Robson, they chose their puppets, minions, supersized them. Jordan was way taller than his parents and about 9 inches gained, 10 inches in one summer. Yeah. Now, I watched, like my son y'all asked about, I watched him grow about 5 inches one year. He literally went from 5'8", 5'9" to 6'2", 6'3". I mean, in a matter of months. So, and he wasn't doing, it's just any. He's only 19. He's probably going to be 6'8" when he finishes growing. He's like 6'7" now. My other son is 6'6", and we didn't think he'd get as tall because I used to always call him the runt. Because with that wife, his natural brothers, the oldest one is the shortest now, and he's 6'5", 6'4", 6'5". And then Cameron's about to be 21. He's 6'6", and he's taller than Cameron. Because Cameron has shoes on, and he didn't have shoes on, and they was like the same. But Cameron is 6'6", so he's 6'7". His mother, but their mother, when I met their mother, she was like 5'11", and within the matter of years, she grew to be 6'2". Because when I met her, I was taller than her, and she just kept growing. Into her 20s, she just kept growing. Yeah. So that's how they choose that. Yeah, definitely. Well, it's hot. Thank you. I was able to, have enough energy. I got enough rest last night, even though I'm going to buy a BB gun. And I saw a woodpecker in the mother tree. So I was throwing shit at it. And he was like, what the hell? The woodpecker looking around and I'm throwing shit at it. But I'm not going to have a woodpecker in the mother tree because woodpeckers will kill trees. So there's other trees. I'm going to get a BB gun. But that is not why I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it for the people that do the yard and the townhouse is behind me. And if I catch them, I'm going to put a scope in everything. Matter of fact, I'm going to get pellets. Pellets sting more than BBs. Get some pellets. And if they are out mowing at 7:30 again, after I don't go to bed at 3, I am going to light their asses up. They're going to be like, hey, we can't go back there because we get shot with something. I'm going to go put, I got the camouflage shit that, all draped around me. It'll be a bush in the middle of the yard where there ain't no bush, so they'll probably wonder it's me. No, they'll think it's a bush. But, can't have it. 7:30, don't be, no. Did you see the NFL schedule? They got like 4 regular season games this side of the country. I mean, they got their own football where they need our football for. They want a team. I talked about that the other day. They want a team over there, but logistically, it's going to be hard. It's going to be physically hard. They really wanted NFL Europe, and it didn't do that bad. Even economically, it didn't do. Like I said, I got a partner that played in Poland for 10 years. He brought another cat that played about damn near 10 years too. I think he's coaching over there now. So they play football, our brand of football, but they want Wembley Stadium, got 100,000 people. They want that. What was I reading? The San Diego Spurs for next season are playing 3 or 4 games in Austin. And the family says they're not going to move, but that's a bigger market. So they claim they're not going to move, but they got okay by the NBA to play 4 games in Austin, bigger market up there. So we'll see. But they're going to get a team over there, a team or two, but still logistically, it's going to be hell. It's going to be like when I was watching, this book I read, Interference, and I saw an article about Clover House that was the first owner of Tampa Bay. He was one of them gamblers. This book tells about all these dudes who was just big-time gamblers, con men, not con men, but just like gangster gamblers, and then they get their own teams. And it's not illegal for the owner to bet on games. It's not illegal for the owners to bet on games. Well, now everybody can bet. When technically Taiwan is a country, but China doesn't look at them as a country. Well, it's going to be another proxy war. Call of Duty. That's another proxy war. Same thing they're trying to do. We fight the proxy war over there on their grounds. And the same thing is going to happen. Same thing. And I've got into deep, the way they calculate it is if they attack Taiwan and then we help Taiwan, we can obliterate their army. They're going to obliterate a lot of the Pacific Fleet. Now, they could do us men in the high castle and let them nasty little motherfuckers come over here. They could do that. Do not be surprised if they do that and let them have California. They already own the D ports. The San Antonio port was sold. No, San Jose. The San Jose port, they already own. That goes to all these railroad lines. So that could be the fake thing. But the other part is they say that if what we destroy, they could build back quicker than we could build back. They couldn't defeat us, but they would build back quicker than them. And then, so we'll see. But I mean, we live amongst warmongers. The European is a warmonger. And I ain't trying to, that is just their way. The Europeans in control love war. Look at their history. I mean, World War I was cousins fighting each other. Cousins fighting each other. You had 4 countries, all the royals was related. And they're what is the word I'm looking for? Sacrificing men by the thousands, hundreds of thousands. As I said, you look at Hamburger Hills is a perfect example. General Giap, they talk about how brilliant he is. He sacrificed millions. Millions. He ain't out there fighting. He's telling people to go. I mean, the Tet Offensive looks good on paper, but it wiped out the Viet Cong. So the only fighting force was the North Vietnamese army, when before they was a separate force fighting the U.S. with getting helps and arms. But Vietnam was a proxy war too. But isn't it funny? Why would you do something that would kill one of your army groups? Like Hitler, when they go into Russia and his army groups say we need to do a strategic retreat, that's taught in military school. It's okay to retreat. And Hitler would say, don't retreat, give up a whole army instead of retreating. I mean, that makes no sense. I tell you, he wasn't trying to win. Hitler had the generals to win. He fires one of the best generals they had beginning the war, and he took in power. You tell me what sense that makes. A person that probably could have won a lot. Hitler could have won very easily, and they didn't lose. The Nazis did not lose. Let them shoot cans. Definitely. Warriors got their loss. Young Dolph killed on the day of the year. Wow, interesting. I think I know for certain how they do it. Demons carry out their Kabbalah rituals. Demons work on both sides, though. Keep that in mind. Demons work on both sides. Thank Lorenzo. Skull and Bones 322. They say they don't have their own building on campus. I used to party in New Haven when I was younger all the time. Wow. But yeah, keep in mind demons and you know, Brother Bomber was talking about the genie, the jinn. Brother Bomber tell you it was what he say, Kubala and Allah. You know, if you looked at what was in the Kabbalah, Allah was just one of the tribal gods. Just like Jehovah was a mountain god. It was a mountain god. But Allah was one of the many gods that was in the Kabbalah. One of the many ones. But it's Allah. Bomber said the other name, but it's two gods there, you know. So all from the same book. They all use the book. Give you guys that Jaguar energy. All right, I'm going to shut it down, but I'm going to give you this Jaguar energy. Transformation. Definitely give everybody the Virgin. Cut through ignorance. The Hecamer Diamond. Amplify, cutting through ignorance. Amplify your intention. So tonight's card is Moloch. Raindrop or water is the common name. Qualities: lunar intelligence and wisdom, signals, signs, awakened attention, self-remembrance, divine guidance, God's seed, cosmic communication or beacon. Symbols are lotus or moon. Number is number 9. Color is sunset peach. Ooh, I need a sunset peach suit. I think I say that every time. Some sunset peach gaiters. Ooh, and a sunset peach Godfather hat. Herbs are golden seal. Flowers, apricot rose. Florescent dogwood. Scents, peach, lotus. Stones, peach moonstones. Botswana agate. Generator, quartz obelisk. It is an earth element, and the direction is a new direction coming from the east. But the shadow wisdom is self-forgetting, negative self-talk, self-depreciation, lacking awareness of sign offered by the cosmic communication. Someone mentioned, I think Valerie mentioned timing, or somebody mentioned timing. Hiding the fullness of your light. But the way you can get out of it is to take the veil of forgetfulness, take off the veil of forgetfulness, become the beacon of awakened awareness as you open to self-remembrance. You'll fully receive divine guidance, be with others to support your full expression. Modulation is the wisdom. So right hand on the forehead, making an O on the third eye. Left arm at a right angle. Fingers together with the palm facing forward. So I think it's something like this. Something like this. Like that. And you would say, as a galactic beacon and receiver, I have direct access to the divine. And one thing you would meditate with lots of lotus of remembrance, quicken the sacred seed. So orange tomorrow, if you need to manifest. Manifest. If you wear the orange, manifest. Face the east. When you manifest, give you a little push. And also, I am trying to set up how I would go about teaching the time walking information that would be useful to everybody. Putting that together for those that would be interested. Trying to put it in a format that would be easy and to apply. The same way with Desire, trying to make it easy to understand and to use. Because the more of us can use this, the more soul force we can push out there. Because that's what we are, we soul forces. So more, it all starts with a gentle sadness. They came from their original homeland, and they knew that they had exact numbers of years and days before they would disappear off the earth as a culture and a lifestyle. But as civilization builders, the civilization would build to a gentle love. They lived in the Creator's day and knew how to separate cycles and the great serpent, which is the Milky Way. And remember, as you deal with people, I am another yourself. As Marco would say, reaction. So deal with people with that consideration. You know, like the witch says, love her above. Keep that love high as you can keep it. If it's self-love, but just love everything. You ain't got to be in love with everything, but you love everything because the moment is all. I mean, we look at TV and we look at these world events, but when it comes down to what you are and what you're about, it's just this moment. That's it. You are moving through moments. When you get killed or you die in that moment. So worrying about more than the moment is, I'm not saying you can't plan, but I'm saying don't be obsessed with what could be. Take care of what's now. That's, be here now. Be here now. Like the witch says, you can't put shit too far in the future. You can't reach it. You got to set goals that, are reachable. So finally, I want to say that as each of you lay into your creation ball field, which is a bed that is part of the creation ball field, imagine that you have a mound, and the mounds are stars. They're star mounds. That's our way of relating to the stars from the Americas. And as you have that star mound next to you, remember everything you've put around you means something. Everything that's around you in your bedroom means something. It has value. It has spiritual value because you took the time to put it all together. And everything comes from the earth. Everything comes from the earth. So everything around you is something that you brought together. So you felt it was enough, so make it be enough. Make it be enough. And if those of you that have to work, may the rest of your work be safely. May you be protected. May you take every moment serious. And may it go smooth. May you also be allowed to drive safely to your homes. And whatever time you set aside for you to be in your creation ball field bed, may it be. And just imagine that you have that star mound next to you. And that'll open up the universe for you if you want to go that far. You only are limited by your imagination. That's why imagination is so important. That's all you limited by. You can imagine it, you can do it. You can see it. Self-love is the best love. But if you love yourself enough, others love you too, just the way you carry yourself. Let me crack you up. I told this thing the other day. I'm wearing the Michigan gear. This young European dude looked at me, and he looked at me the way women look at you. Now women look at you, what you got on top, and they see what kind of shoes you got on. I kind of chuckled to myself. That shit is funny to me. Like, only women supposed to look at me like that. But that's how everybody look. They like, okay, your top look cool. What kind of shoes you got on? Nigga, I wear Skechers to work because I thought about wearing them Donovan Mitchell 3s, but yeah, I'm on concrete. Them Skechers is enough. because at my fourth hour I had to change shoes, put the maxes on. So, but I try to bring spirituality, crystals, and all this, into a realistic way to express them, and you can express them. I don't have all the answers. I am perfectly imperfect. All I can tell you is about my experience and where it brought me. I'm a humble person. I don't say I live in I ain't, how they say I'm Elbert J. Fudd. I've got a yacht and a mansion. I don't know if y'all remember that. I'm Elbert J. Fudd. I've got a yacht and a mansion. Well, I don't. I live in a 2-bedroom apartment. I've upgraded my car, which is better. It ain't new. But they say it's new to me. I went from a 5 to a 14. So I'm pimping, I guess, in a way. But it's just a tool. Cars is just a tool. That's all. All of it is. Love yourself, because I have love for y'all. Um, and may your times be what you want them to be. Yeah. May your times be what you want them to be. And just remember, look at the moments. Because really, the moment is all you have. I mean, we get in these cars and we drive and we don't know that we're going through space-time this fast. And we forget that every time those tires turn, it's still a moment. And even though the car's moving so fast, it's still just moments. Because you get in a crash, there's moments before the crash. Moments. So make the best out of it. So, this has been the Chocolate Mountain Show. Thank all the Chocolate Mountaineers. I got to get a shirt to say Chocolate Mountaineers. I've been kind of looking at this and design, so I'm going to get one made and see how they look. So this has been the Chocolate Mountain Show. I'm your super funky host, Big Pontiac. Thanking every one of you for spending time with this old man, this old boy, this old pimp. Thank you for spending time with me, listening to me ramble. And till we meet again, say less. Woo!